The air was cold that evening. A slow wind moved through the empty street, carrying bits of paper and dust. Daniel walked alone, his hands deep in his jacket pockets. He looked tired, like someone who had too many thoughts and not enough rest. At the corner of the street stood an old metal donation bin. It was worn out, covered with scratches and faded paint. Most people did not even notice it anymore. But Daniel did. He stopped in front of it and placed a heavy bag on the ground. Inside the bag were his old clothes. Shirts he no longer wore. A jacket he once liked. Things that still had some life in them. He opened the lid and pushed the bag inside. The metal made a dull sound as it closed. For a moment, he just stood there, quiet, still. Then he turned to leave. 1 step, 2 steps. Then, a sound. Very soft. Daniel froze. He slowly turned his head, his eyes moving back toward the donation bin. The street was empty. No cars. No people. Just the sound of the wind. He shook his head. Just the wind, he whispered to himself. He started walking again. But then he heard it. Again. This time it was clearer. A weak sound. Like someone trying to speak, but too tired to finish the words. Daniel stopped again. His heart began to beat faster. He looked around, checking the street. Nothing. No one. The sound came again. From the bin. Daniel stared at it. That's not possible, he said under his breath. Slowly, carefully he walked back. Each step felt heavier than the last. When he reached the bin, he stood there for a few seconds. He did not move. He just listened. Silence. Then, a faint whisper. Please. Daniel stepped back in shock. That was not the wind. That was a voice. His hand moved slowly toward the lid. For a second, he hesitated. What if this was something dangerous? What if someone was hiding? Or worse, what if it was something he could not understand? He took a deep breath. Then he pulled the lid open. The metal creaked loudly in the quiet street. Daniel leaned forward and looked inside. And then, he froze. Inside the dark bin, curled into a small shape, was a woman. She was shaking. Her body was covered in the clothes he had just thrown away. His clothes. For a moment, his mind could not understand what he was seeing. A woman? Inside the bin? Wearing his clothes? But something was wrong. Very wrong. Her skin, it was not normal. It had a faint silver glow, like soft light under the surface. Her hair was slightly damp, sticking to her face. And her eyes slowly opened. They were too bright. Not human. They locked onto Daniel's face. She looked scared. Weak. Cold. But there was something else in her eyes. Something that made Daniel feel like she was not just looking at him. She was recognizing him. Her lips moved slowly. It looked like it took all her strength just to speak. Please, she whispered again. Daniel's throat went dry. He took a step back. Oh, who are you? He asked, his voice shaking. The woman tried to move, but her body trembled too much. She pulled the jacket closer around herself. Still looking at him, she said something that made his blood run cold. Don't leave me again. Daniel blinked. Again? He felt confusion hit him like a wave. I don't know you, he said quickly. I've never seen you before. But the woman slowly shook her head. Her eyes did not leave his. You did, she said softly. Her voice was weak, but sure. Daniel's mind raced. This made no sense. He would remember her. He had to. There was no way he could forget someone like this. The wind grew stronger, pushing cold air through the street. The metal lid above them moved slightly, making a low noise. Daniel looked around quickly. The street still felt empty. Too empty. He reached for his phone. I'm calling for help, he said. You need a doctor. The moment he said that, the woman's expression changed. Fear filled her eyes. No, she said quickly, her voice suddenly stronger. No, not them. Daniel frowned. What do you mean? Before he could finish, the lights on the street flickered. Once. Twice. Then all at once. They went out. Darkness fell over the street. Daniel's breath caught in his throat. What just happened? He whispered. He looked down into the bin again. The woman was staring up at him. But now, her eyes were glowing. Not softly, but brightly. A deep, unnatural light. And in that moment, Daniel realized something that made his chest tighten with fear. This was not just a strange situation. This was something else. Something not from his world. And whatever it was, it had already found him. The darkness of the street still hung over Daniel as he led the shivering woman away from the donation bin. Every step he took felt heavy, like the weight of something unknown pressed on his chest. The woman, wrapped in his old jacket, moved slowly, her glowing eyes darting from shadow to shadow. Where are we going?" she whispered, her voice weak but filled with fear. "To my apartment," Daniel replied cautiously. He wanted to help, but every instinct screamed that this was not ordinary. He had seen many strange things in his life, but nothing like this. Once inside, he helped her sit on the couch. She looked fragile, like she could break with a single touch. Daniel grabbed a blanket and wrapped it around her. He hesitated, unsure how to speak. Can you talk?" he finally asked. She nodded slowly. "Yes, but not like you." Her accent was strange, almost musical, like the sound of wind over metal. "I learned slowly." Daniel frowned. "Learn? What do you mean?" She looked down at the floor, her hands trembling under the blanket. "I listen, watch, people, words. I try." Her words came in broken sentences, but her tone was urgent. There was a fear in her voice that made Daniel's stomach twist. "I'm Daniel," he said, hoping to sound calm. "What's your name?" The woman looked at him with her bright, glowing eyes. Era, Daniel repeated. It sounded strange, soft but strong at the same time. He noticed the way her glowing eyes seemed to study him, not just see him. It was like she was searching for something inside him, something hidden. Era stayed silent for a moment, her gaze fixed on the ceiling. Then she whispered, almost to herself, "Not from here." Daniel blinked. "Not from here? What do you mean? Where are you from?" Her voice dropped to a fearful whisper. "Far, far, not Earth. My ship crashed. I hide." Daniel's heart skipped a beat. "Ship? You mean like a spaceship?" Era nodded. "Yes, crash, dangerous. Find me." Her eyes widened as she glanced out the window. "They look." Daniel followed her gaze, but the streets below were still empty. "Who's looking?" he asked cautiously. She shivered. "My people, not humans, hunters, my kind. I escape." Daniel felt his stomach tighten. He had thought this was strange, maybe even a trick. But now he understood this was real. Something from another world was in his apartment, and she was afraid of someone, or something, powerful. He sat down beside her, careful not to startle her. "You don't have to be afraid here. I'll protect you. I don't know what's coming, but I won't leave you." Era's glowing eyes softened slightly. For a moment, she just looked at him, studying him, like she was trying to understand why a human would offer protection. Then she spoke softly. "I saw you before today." Daniel froze. "Saw me? Where?" She shook her head, her long silver hair falling over her glowing shoulders. "Far, hiding. I'll watch you, kind, safe, only human." Daniel's mind raced. "You watch me?" "Yes, far, silent. You different." Her voice carried a strange weight, a mix of fear and trust. "Other, humans weak. You choice good." Daniel shook his head slowly. "I don't understand." Era's eyes glowed brighter. "I understand, humans, many broken weak, but you choose help, not kill, not take, not hurt." "I see her." Daniel swallowed hard. He had never felt so strange, so small and large at the same time. This creature, fragile yet powerful in ways he could not see, had observed him and chosen him. The wind outside suddenly shifted. Era stiffened, her eyes narrowing. "The near see now." Daniel jumped to the window. The street was empty, but the air felt heavy, like it was watching him. "Who?" he asked, his voice tight. "Then no, hiding time short." Her voice trembled, but she forced it to calmness. "You help, hide, or gone forever." Daniel nodded. "Then we hide, no matter what it takes." Era's glowing eyes softened again. For the first time, she gave him a faint smile, fragile but real. And Daniel realized something important. This was no ordinary human or alien. She was alive, but more than alive. She was hope, courage, and a reminder that the world was bigger than he had ever imagined. Outside, the city remained quiet. But somewhere in the dark, somewhere far above, something waited, watching. And Daniel knew nothing would ever be the same. Daniel could feel the tension in the room, thick as the cold night air outside. Era sat on the couch, her glowing eyes fixed on him, but her body was tense, ready to spring at any sound. Something was coming. He could feel it, a presence he could not see, but it made the walls hum with quiet energy. "They are close," Era whispered, her voice barely audible. Her hands trembled, though she tried to hide it under the blanket. "Hunters, my people. They find me now, you." Daniel's stomach tightened. "Find me? Why me? I see you help. Humans dangerous, stronger than expected." Era's glowing eyes flicked toward the window. "I'd hide you, they scan everything." Daniel's mind raced. His apartment was small, normal, nothing special. Yet now it felt like a trap. Every shadow looked like it could move, every sound could signal danger. He stepped closer to the window and peered outside. Nothing, just the quiet streets. But then the sky shifted. A bright light appeared far above the city, moving silently, almost like it was sliding through the clouds. Daniel blinked. It wasn't a helicopter or a plane. It moved too fast, too smooth. "They are scanning," Era said sharply, her voice urgent. "They sense life like predator hunters." Daniel backed away from the window. "How do you know?" She looked at him, her glowing eyes narrowing. "Oh, instinct feel. Humans dangerous but weak, they're wrong. You different. You survive, fight. I trust Rare." Daniel swallowed. Trust. From an alien being whose species hunted and destroyed, she trusted him. That thought alone made his pulse race. Suddenly, a low hum filled the apartment. The lights flickered. Daniel and Era froze. The sound was deep, vibrating through the floor. Then through the window, something moved, black shapes sleek and fast, sliding over rooftops like shadows with legs. "They are here," Era whispered, her voice trembling. "Not far, they see us." Daniel's hands clenched into fists. He had never fought aliens. He had never faced creatures that could move faster than humans, see in darkness, and probably think 10 steps ahead. But he had something they did not: cleverness. The city, the tools around him, and the instinct to survive. "They're not going to get you," Daniel said, more to himself than to Era. "Not if I can help it." He moved to the kitchen, grabbing a few things that could help: metal rods, wires, even old flashlights. His mind worked fast, connecting ideas, creating traps from ordinary objects. Every second counted. Era watched him, fascinated. "You use simple, humans clever, different strong." Daniel paused. "Different. Yes, humans small, weak, but unpredictable, survive, clever, heart strong, protect." Rare. Her voice trailed off, but the meaning was clear. His species' unpredictability, their ability to improvise, was dangerous to her kind. A hum outside grew louder. The shadows on the rooftops shifted. Then, one of the black shapes leapt from the roof across the street, landing silently. Daniel held his breath. It was sleek, humanoid, but with glowing eyes and armor that shimmered like liquid metal. It scanned the street with precise movements, searching. "Scan for me." "And you," Era whispered, clutching the blanket tighter. Daniel's mind raced. There was no way he could fight them directly, but he could guide them, lead them somewhere they would not expect. Using the narrow alleys, overturned trash, and his own traps, he could turn the city into a maze. He grabbed Era's hand. "We move. Now." Quiet, fast, and smart. She nodded, trusting him completely. Her silver glow dimmed slightly as she followed him. Together, they slipped into the shadows, moving along walls, under fire escapes, through alleyways Daniel knew well. From the rooftops, the hunters followed silently, their movements precise. Daniel's traps startled a few. Trash cans toppled. Flashing lights confused sensors. Wires tripped motion detectors. Every small act gave them a little advantage. Era gasped once. Humans clever, never think like this dangerous." Daniel allowed a small smile, even in fear. "You'd be surprised what humans can do when they have to. We survive. We fight. We adapt." She looked at him, awe in her glowing eyes. "Yes, humans, not weak, different, heart strong." Daniel felt a sudden surge of determination. The hunters were coming, yes, but they had underestimated him. They had underestimated humans. And as he led Era through the twisting city streets, he realized something important. This was not just about survival. This was a chance to prove something the universe had long forgotten. That humans, small and fragile as they seemed, could be dangerous in ways no alien could predict. And somewhere high above, the hunters realized they were not chasing ordinary prey anymore. Daniel's heart pounded as he and Era slipped through the narrow alleys of the city. Every shadow seemed alive. Every echo of movement made him jump. The hunters were still out there, sliding silently across rooftops, scanning every corner, every window, every flicker of light. They learning, Era whispered, her glowing eyes tracking the shadows above. Not easy like humans. Daniel shook his head. Not easy? I don't think they know what humans are capable of. He gritted his teeth. Time to show them. He ducked behind a rusted dumpster, pulling out a metal rod and a few wires he had scavenged. Simple tools. Simple traps. Ordinary objects turned into weapons. The hunters were expecting speed, strength, and advanced technology, but not improvisation, not human cleverness. They weak, not strong, easily controlled. Era muttered, her voice tense but fascinated. But you different, unpredictable, survive, dangerous. Daniel nodded. He didn't understand all her words, but the meaning was clear. Humans were underestimated. And tonight, he intended to prove it. From the shadows, he surveyed the alley. One hunter moved across the street. A sleek, black figure with glowing eyes, its armor shimmering in the faint city lights. It was scanning, precise and methodical. Daniel's pulse quickened. He needed a plan. He glanced at Era. Distracted. She shook her head. No, you humans fight. Clever me, stay safe. I need you alive, but I can't fight this alone. Trust me, he said. Era hesitated, then nodded. She moved silently, her glowing form slipping through a side alley, drawing the hunter's attention. The hunter turned instantly, sensing her. Daniel's eyes narrowed. Now, he activated a trap he had prepared. Wires stretched across the alley, connected to metal trash cans. The hunter stepped forward, sensing movement. The cans toppled, clanging loudly. Sparks flew as the wires shorted. The hunter froze for a fraction of a second, long enough for Daniel to act. He grabbed a heavy pipe and swung it with all his strength. The hunter dodged with superhuman speed, but Daniel's swing hit the edge of the metal armor, creating a sharp spark that blinded its sensors briefly. Era gasped, watching him. Ew. Humans not weak, strong, survive, clever. Daniel ran, leading the hunter through twisting alleyways, over fire escapes, and across rooftops. He used every corner, every shadow, every obstacle. Ordinary humans could not have done this, but he was not ordinary. Fear had sharpened his mind. Survival had made him fast, resourceful, unpredictable. Another hunter appeared, descending from a rooftop, its glowing eyes scanning. Daniel didn't hesitate. He grabbed a loose cable hanging from a nearby building and swung across a gap, knocking the hunter slightly off balance. It hissed, metallic and alien. Daniel barely landed safely. Era followed closely, eyes wide, clearly impressed. You humans not weak, heart strong, survive, dangerous. Daniel's lungs burned, but he pushed forward. Every move was precise. Every action had a purpose. And slowly, the hunters began to realize these humans were not ordinary. They were unpredictable, clever, and dangerous. Finally, they reached an abandoned warehouse at the edge of the city. Daniel ducked inside and barricaded the door with metal bars and crates. Era collapsed on the floor, exhausted but alive. "Is surprised," she whispered, awe in her glowing eyes. "Not like humans, clever, strong heart." Daniel sank next to her, catching his breath. "I told you," he said quietly. "Humans surviva. We adapt. We fight in ways you don't expect." Era looked at him, her glow softening. "Yes, humans survive, fight. Heart strong, dangerous." She paused, then added softly. "They fear humans, reason long ago. Humans survive, impossible events erase memory. Hunters know weak, but not true." Daniel frowned. "Impossible events?" Memory erased? What are you talking about? Era's glowing eyes fixed on him, serious now. Your kind survived danger far greater than us long ago. Humans fight. Choose good survive. Heartstrawer. Daniel's mind raced. The hunters were advanced, ruthless, and organized, but they were wrong. They had underestimated humans. They had forgotten something ancient and important. Humans were not just fighters. They were survivors, adaptive, clever, and unpredictable. And that was why he was still alive, still leading Era, still proving that humans could face impossible odds. The warehouse was quiet now, but Daniel knew the danger was not gone. The hunters were still out there, recalculating, watching, learning. But tonight, humans had shown their strength in a way no alien could fully understand. Era looked at him with a new respect, her glowing eyes reflecting awe. Humans, not weak, strong, heart, clever, dangerous, survive, protect, Era. Daniel smiled faintly, exhausted but determined. We are, he said quietly, and we will survive, no matter what comes next. Outside, the city remained still. But high above in the dark sky, the hunters paused, reassessing. The humans were not prey. They were unpredictable, dangerous, alive in a way the universe had forgotten. And that realization changed everything. The night air was heavy with tension. Daniel and Era stood on the rooftop of the abandoned warehouse. The city spread below them like a sleeping giant. Every shadow seemed alive. Every distant hum of the city sounded like a warning. Somewhere above, the hunters moved silently, waiting, calculating, preparing for the final move. They're coming, Era whispered, her glowing eyes scanning the sky. Her small hand trembled in Daniel's. Leader, arrive, now decide you. Daniel tightened his grip on her hand. I don't care who comes. I won't let them take you. The wind shifted. Then suddenly a massive shadow fell across the rooftop. The alien leader had arrived. Taller than any hunter Daniel had seen, armored in black metal that shimmered like liquid, its eyes glowing deep red. Every movement was precise, terrifying, filled with authority. Human, the leader's voice boomed, metallic and echoing. You have interfered. You have protected what is forbidden. Your species is dangerous. Give her back. Forget this night, and your memory will be erased. Daniel's jaw tightened. No, I won't give her back. The leader stepped closer. Its armor shifted, glowing lines tracing the edges like circuitry alive with power. You will comply, or the entire planet will face consequences. Your choice is simple. Daniel swallowed. He looked at Era, her silver glow faint but steady. She had trusted him completely. She believed in humans. And he had finally realized the truth. Humans were not weak. Humans survived because they could choose, because they could fight with heart, and because they could adapt in ways no one, not even this alien leader, expected. You don't understand, Daniel said, his voice firm. Humans surviva. We adapt. We fight. We protect. You think we're weak, but we're not. Era's eyes glowed brighter. Yes, human strong, heart survive, dangerous, clever. The alien leader's eyes narrowed. Impressive, but not enough. Surrender her, or you and this world will burn. Daniel glanced around. The hunters were moving closer, silent, deadly. The odds were impossible, but he felt a calm in himself he had never felt before. Something ancient, something primal, was awakening inside him. The instinct to survive, the courage to protect, the power of choice. He looked back at the leader. You don't get it. You think power comes from strength, from control. But real power comes from choice, from heart, from courage, from protecting those who cannot protect themselves. Era's glow pulsed as she stepped closer, standing beside him. Humans survive, impossible fight, clever, heart strong, protect. The leader hesitated, sensing something it could not measure. Daniel took that moment. He ran forward, dodging hunters, using rooftops, cables, and obstacles he had prepared. Sparks flew, shadows shifted, and the hunters began to stumble. Daniel was small, human, fragile, but unpredictable. dangerous, alive. He grabbed a loose metal pipe and swung at one of the hunters. It shattered, startling the others. Era released a low hum, energy forming around her. Together, they moved in perfect coordination, human cunning and alien power combined. The alien leader stopped, realizing something. Ew. Humans, not ordinary, dangerous survival. Unexpected. Daniel nodded. Yes, humans sobreviva. We always have. And we always will. The leader's red eyes glowed brighter, but it paused, weighing its options. Then it spoke slowly. You have choice. But know this, the universe watches. Your species is marked. Dangerous. Unpredictable. You have awakened something long thought gone. Daniel didn't flinch. Good. Let them watch. They'll see humans are not weak. They'll see we fight. And we protect. Era's glow shimmered warmly, reflecting on Daniel's face. We together, safe now, fight, survive, strong. The hunters withdrew into the shadows, recalculating. The alien leader rose into the sky, its form disappearing into the night, leaving only a warning in its voice. This is not over. But humans, you are dangerous. Daniel and Era stood together on the rooftop, the city quiet again. The wind moved through the streets, carrying the faint hum of life. Daniel looked at her, exhausted, exhilarated, and full of awe. You trust me, he said softly. Era nodded, her glowing eyes steady. Yes, humans heart-strong, survive, protect her. Daniel smiled faintly. For the first time, he felt the full weight of what they had done. The hunters were gone, for now. The alien leader had underestimated humans. And the truth was clear. Humans were not just survivors. Humans were a force to be reckoned with. Clever, brave, unpredictable. And somewhere in the dark expanse of space, the universe had noticed. Not because of weapons, not because of firepower, but because of humans, because of heart, because of choice, because of courage. Daniel and Era stood together, the city beneath them alive, the stars above them watching. And for the first time, the impossible felt real. Humans could survive anything. They could fight anything. And they could protect anything worth protecting. And that truth would echo far beyond Earth, marking humanity as dangerous, unpredictable, and unyielding.